Hey you guys, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Brooke and I like to draw pretty girls. And if you're not new, then thank you for coming back. But let's get into this video. I relatively recently opened up commissions at the beginning of this year, but I've just gotten my 5th commission order. And when I started commissions, I looked at a lot of videos about how to set them up, how to write your TOS, how to price your work, all that jazz. But I haven't seen a ton of videos about the process after the fact. Like, what is it like when you get your first commission request? How do you talk to your client through email? What do I say if something's wrong? And when do I send them whips? How do we figure out what we're going to do? I don't really see a ton of videos about that. And I wanted to share all that with you guys. So this video is my complete commission process from the request all the way to them receiving the final product. And I'm going to share with you how I communicate with them. I'm going to summarize their responses for you for their privacy. But I will be telling you, and I'll show screenshots of exactly what I'm saying to them so you see how I communicate with them. And this isn't going to work for everyone because I communicate with my clients. I try to be very real and speak speak in the emails in a tone that is true to my personality. So it is me talking to them. It's still professional because at the end of the day, these are documented forms of conversation between us that are agreements for the thing that they are purchasing from me. So it is professional, but I'm drawing you a pretty picture so we don't have to talk like lawyers. You know what I mean? So it won't work for everybody. And the way that I spoke to this client might not even work for me with the next client. The commission you're seeing is from a client that I have worked with before. Lovely, lovely human being. Would love to draw many more things for them. And they're very easy to talk to. They ask for minimal changes. I think that we're just pretty synced up on the vision of what we want. But I'm going to show you how we get synced up on that vision. So if you're interested in seeing how the commission process goes, then stick around. And you could transfer all of these tips and things I'm telling you to other commissioning platforms, or even if you just like take commission through DMs. But I do it on coffee. So at least the initial part is going to be very specific to coffee. Like the notification I get when I get a commission and all that, I get from coffee. And then I'll get emails from them. But we'll discuss that later. And just a disclaimer, this is a commission process, not a drawing process video, unfortunately. But you will see some screen recordings of me drawing. Because what else are you going to look at? Me talking like this whole time? No, I'm going to show you some work. But this is not a tutorial on how to draw it. I want to make one of those in the future. If you're interested, let me know, and then I'll work on it quicker. Until then, I do have a video. I'll put it here. But I have a video where I tell you about all of the resources and brushes and videos I watched to learn how to draw digitally. So you can go check that out and check out those links, check out those brushes, because all of that is what I used essentially to do this commission. So let's move on to the commission. Hello, guys. It's voiceover me. So let's just jump right in to what the process is like while you watch me in the background work on my rough sketches. Oh, and that sketch right there, that's actually from the last commission that this client ordered from me, one of their Baldur's Gate characters. The commission I'm working on right now is also one of their Baldur's Gate characters. Or it started as a Baldur's Gate character and then they kind of transformed it into their own OC, which I think is super fun. And I love doing these. I think it's awesome. And I love all of the reference photos that you can get from your character in Baldur's Gate. So, to the beginning of the process. So, we're going to start from the very, very beginning. And this is very specific to the way that I do commissions because I do commissions on Coffee or Ko-Fi. I'm going to call it Coffee because that's fun. But I like to use Coffee instead of, for example, taking commissions over DMs or messages because I feel like it leaves more of a trail and it's a little more professional, and it also requires for my clients to give me payment up front, and it gives them, Coffee at least gives them two options. You can either use PayPal or you can use Stripe, which allows you to use your debit or credit card. And then I also have automated messages that are given to my clients on Coffee, which are for them to give me a description of what they want in the request form. And for this commission request, I'll put up what they asked for. But essentially, their Baldur's Gate character, they gave me a description of what this character's personality is like, and the hair color, and a couple other things that they want to make sure that I include from the reference photos. And then when you request a commission request, that doesn't sound right. But when you get a commission from me, it'll also give you a message asking that you send all of your reference photos to me through email. And then it gives you my business email. And I like to do that through email so that it's easier for me to go back and forth and then download those photos. And it also sets up our form of communication. I will allow communication through DMs if that's easier, like through Instagram, but I like email just because, I don't know, it's a little more professional, it's easier to keep track of it, it's not going to get bogged down by other things. And then I set up a specific art business email for all of these things, so it's not going on to my personal email. So I receive an email from Coffee when I get my commission request. And this is after they filled out all of the forms, they've picked any add-ons that they want, they fully paid. I get the email from Coffee. And then shortly after, I will get the email from my client with all of their reference photos. And these are all the reference photos. I'll put them up now that this client gave me for this commission. They gave me a bunch, which I also ask in the request form that you send as many as you can. I would much rather have too many than not enough. So they sent me a ton of reference photos, and they are also an artist, so they also sent me some sketches that they did of this character as well, which I find very helpful, especially when picking out colors. Because if you ever get a client send you one of their drawings and there's colors, I tend to pick those because they're going to pick the colors that they really want to see them in. So I might start with those being my base. But once I get the reference photos and I get the request and the description and all that, I email the client and I say this. I'll show you what I said to them exactly. But I basically thank them for commissioning me, and I like to express a little excitement because I know they're excited, and I think it's nice to make them feel good about wanting to get themselves something. And in this commission, I also had a few questions for them. So if there's anything I want to know before I start sketching, I ask now. So I have all my information before I begin the sketches and before the process starts. So they did pick the add on on the request form for a frame, because I have pretty basic commissions right now. It's a bust commission, and you can have a frame of some kind, like flowers or organic or inorganic objects, something like that, if that makes sense. And they did not tell me in the description what kind of frame they wanted. And they also did not include any information about any background colors. So I made sure to ask them if they had any ideas for the frame or any colors that they would like in the background. And they emailed me back and mentioned Lily of the Valley, which I think sounds beautiful, and I had some great ideas for that. So, after I got all of the information I needed and all of my reference photos, I got to the rough sketches. And I also let them know before I start the rough sketches that I'm going to begin the rough sketches and that I will have them to them as soon as they are finished. And that normally takes me about a day. And I like to do my rough sketches on paper with pencil just because for me, my ideas I feel like flow better with traditional media. So I do them in my sketchbook. I didn't warn this client just because we went through this process before already, but I'll normally warn them like, hey, I do my rough sketches traditionally, but you are going to get a digital product. Like, this is not indicative of the final product. This is just, it's quicker and my ideas flow better. And I start the rough sketches. I also let them know these are rough sketches. The composition will look the way it does in this sketch, but all of the details are not there. It is a little messier. So trust the process, but right now we're really just trying to figure out the poses and the composition. So I do all those sketches, and once they're done, I take a couple pictures. I like to draw at least two options. I think it's great to have three, but at least two. Two different poses and maybe a different style for the frame for each. And then I take a photo of both of those. I send them off and I let them know that we can choose one of these, or we can also mix and match things from each composition. Like if you prefer the frame in this one or the posing in that one, we can mix it together and really customize something you really want. And for this client, and luckily for me, for every client I've had so far, they like one in particular, and we just move forward with that one. So the one that we went for this time was this one. And once I get that email confirmation of which design we're going with, I let them know that I'm going to begin the line art process digitally, and I will send them off a whip of that line art as soon as it's finished. And that would normally take me 1 to 2 days. It doesn't take me a full 1 to 2 days to do it, but I'll work on it throughout that time. And it also depends on when they get back to me. But once we get all that situated, that communication, I import the photo of the sketch onto Procreate and I begin drawing. This one actually was a little tricky. I had to sketch a lot to get the face the way that I wanted to match the vibe of all the reference photos. But we got there. And then finally, once our line art was done and I was happy with it, I sent it off to our lovely client and asked them what they thought and asked if there's any changes they would like to make. And I'm gonna let the real me take over from here. Hey you guys. So, I think this might be the first time I'm speaking you for this process. But I got a lot of work done last night on my commission. I actually got all the line work done. I'll actually put a picture up or something so you can see, because I know it's hard to tell on the screen. But it was kind of a struggle. I started out with that really rough sketch, and I was really struggling to get it to look right. But I'm really happy with this. It came a long way last night. So we got some awesome work done. But since the line art is done, I like to send a whip of the line work to my client in an email, letting them know hey, this stage of the work is done. How do we like it? Is there any changes you want to make now before I start coloring? And I like to send a whip at this stage. This is the only stage I really send an update unless I'm asked. If they ask, I'll send one at any point in time, as long as they're not badgering me. You're not going to get one every day, because I might not even be able to work on it every day. But if you want one at every stage, if you want one after the flats or after the halfway through the rendering process, that's fine, I'll do that. But I have just been sending a whip of the line art, and I like to do that because it's pretty this is what it's going to look like. It's going to obviously be colored at the end, but it's going to look like this. The composition's not really going to change. The details for the most part are there, except for colors, shadows, and little her freckles aren't there and stuff like that. But the composition is completely in place, and the proportions, all that stuff. So if for some reason they don't like the way the hair is, or the flowers, or the jewelry, or the tattoos and markings, now is the time to tell me so that I can change that before color. It's not impossible to change after the color, because this is a digital drawing. It's in layers. I don't work with a ton of layers, but I work with enough layers that if you want me to change something, it's not going to be that hard. It's not like a painting. I am not going to go into a painting after I've started it and change stuff like that. That would be a lot of work. This isn't too bad, but I feel like this is a great spot for clients to look and notice things that they might not like and let me know now, and then we can kind of nip those in the bud before I get too far. Because I would say this is probably a quarter way through with the commission, maybe a little more than a quarter, because my next stage will be doing the flats, and then once I have the flats, I'll do some basic shadow and highlight blocking out, and then we go straight into rendering, and then it kind of snowballs from there into being done. I kind of just don't stop, because I like the rendering process. I really love the line art too. But I would say, because it is now Saturday morning, and I just sent that email, and if I hear back from them by this afternoon, which I think I will, they're really good at answering emails. If I hear back this afternoon, I'll probably finish color blocking tonight. And I would say we're on track to have this finished by Monday. Because I probably work on it mostly at work during free time, because it's kind of like I'm getting paid. But I'll work on it at my job when I have free time late at night. And that way I can kind of do whatever I need to do at home. Time management, whatever. That's not what this is about. This is about the process. But this is done. So I just sent the email out to my client. And the way I compose that email is it's just the subject line is whip updates. Because it's just a whip, an update for them. And it just says, line work is done. Let me know what you think. If there's any changes you would like to make before I start coloring. And now we just wait for the response and see if they like it or not. I feel pretty confident they're gonna like it. I think that this has a pretty decent likeness to their character, and I really like the layout and the composition of this. I think it looks very romantic. I think it's very cute. So I think they'll like it, and I'm pretty confident I'll hear back today. If not, then I might even just go ahead and start color blocking. Because, like I said, it's all in different layers. I can just go back in the line art just because I don't really want to get behind. But it would be a wise decision to wait. Because there is no real rush. I give myself about 2 to 3 weeks, I think it says in my TOS, to do these. So I'm not behind. But I'm going to Comic-Con on Thursday of this coming up week, so I would kind of like to have a lot of my projects wrapped up, and I have a couple things I'm trying to work on right now on top of this. But yeah, and also they can, just, a little side note, clients can make changes after the line art with me. This isn't the only stage that they can come to me and say, hey, I don't like that, I want to change that. They can also come to me at any point when they look at it. Or I had a previous client get the final product and she noticed the eye was kind of like drifting off to one side that I didn't really notice when I first saw it. And she brought that up and it was an easy fix. I fixed it just fine. My clients are allowed 3 revisions to the commission. After 3 revisions, you can ask for more, but it comes at a cost. I don't remember the cost. It is in my TOS, so I can refer back to it, and they can refer back to it if that's something they want to do. And then I also will offer minor revisions after the final product is given to them, but not like major stuff. Like if there's color tweaking you want to do, or like little details that aren't quite right, then I'll do that. But they're paying for it, It's like it's for them. I'll change it to an extent. But at some point, if it's a lot more work on top of what I'm already doing for the price, then I need a little bit of money or else I'm working for free, But yeah, so we're just waiting on that email back, and then we'll start coloring. And I'll see you guys when we're moving on to the next part. Okay, so I'm back. Voiceover me is back. And I am from the future letting you know that our client responded and said that they love the line art and that they cannot wait to see it colored. So that's when I began the flats and the rendering. And I think I already explained that since this client is kind of chill, I am not sending another whip. I'm just going to send the final product. If I felt apprehensive about anything with the drawing, like even I wasn't sure about if the design was going well, then I would send a whip. Or if I felt like this client might want to be more part of the process, I would send a whip, more than likely after the flats. Or after basically all the flats and shapes were colored in. Not before the rendering, but then they could stop me if there's anything they don't like. But I felt pretty good about this, so I just wanted to power through. So I just kept on drawing. We didn't have any more communication after I sent the line art until after I sent the final product. So we got it all done. It looked beautiful. It looked amazing. I was very excited and proud. So I sent over the final product. I actually sent 2 versions because I had one version that was just the basic frame on a blank background, and then I made another version that had this like purple square in the background, and I thought it looked really pretty with the color palette. It was like a lavender purple. So I sent both because I like them to have the options. And sometimes I'll even send like the PNG or whatever of it without the background, like you'd use for stickers. Maybe they want to make themselves a sticker. I do not allow clients to create their own products, like to sell. or like merch with their commissions, but I think it would be fun if you want to make yourself print yourself out a little sticker or something, or just have more diversity in ways that you could use your commission, because I want you to do what you want with it. You paid for it. So I sent two different versions, and then I waited with bated breath to hear back and see if they liked it or not. Because also, I want to see if maybe there's anything they do want to change before I post it on my social media and I make my shorts and whatnot about it. Because, of course, I'm excited to share with the world the drawing that I just did, because I'm also proud of it. So I waited for them to respond, and we got a response. And there was one revision that they wanted to make. This is fully on me. I should have checked the description in their request one more time before I sent it, just to make sure I got all the details they wanted, because I completely forgot that the character is supposed to have a scar underneath one of their eyes. So, in the email, they said they loved it so much, they loved the background with the purple, but if it was possible, that I could add the scar under their eye or across their eye. And of course, I can do that. So I immediately went into Procreate and edited it, and I just added the scar. It was super simple, and sent it back again and let them know that if there's anything else that they want me to change, then please feel free to ask. It would be no trouble at all, because they already haven't asked for any revisions throughout the whole process. So I'm more than happy to fix whatever needs to be fixed. And then that was the end of the commission. They said they loved it, and then I went off to post it, and that's all. After you get that final confirmation that they like the product, it ends from there. I might save the emails and the communication for a little bit after the fact, cuz truly in a transactional professional manner, way, I guess, after they say they like it, we're done. We don't really need to go back to it. They can't really ask for it back. Like, I don't do refunds after the final product anyhow. So it's a finished transaction. But just in case something comes up or they notice something, I do want to have or a trail of communication. That's another reason why I like to do this through email. It's just really nice to save and archive that trail of communication. And another reason why I like doing it on Coffee, because Coffee is going to save all that stuff for me. I don't have to keep up with transaction and receipts through DMs or any of that. And I feel like also sometimes through DMs, people may be apprehensive of paying up front. And I think there's mixed feelings about taking payment up front for commissions. Personally, I think you should always take payment up front for commissions, because you have to pay up front for everything else that you get. And I don't think that I should start working until I have the money. I do have refunds for that purpose. You can't get a full refund after a certain point, but you can get partial refunds because I am making you pay for it up front. But I think that it's a good way to get scammed if you don't take your money up front. But besides that, I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I need to tell you guys. I know I'm going to tell you in a minute. The real flesh me is going to tell you about me raising my prices, because I am going to raise my prices. And I do just want to say that I'm learning to value my art and my time as an artist more. And I think doing commissions has really made me learn that my art is something that's worth buying, and I need to respect myself as an artist and price my things accordingly. And I just want to say to you, do not be afraid to raise your prices and to list your merchandise at a fair price for yourself. Because the people that want it are going to buy it. And you don't, I was really worried about people not wanting to spend the money on my commissions if they were too high of a price. But now I realize I might almost be giving this stuff away for free. So I need to respect myself, just like I hope you do the same for yourself as well. And I think that's all I gotta say to you on this tiny little fuzzy mic. So listen to me in a minute. Goodbye. So that was my commission process. A very beautiful drawing, if you ask me. I love drawing people's OCs. It's so fun. So fun. I love the elves, all the fantasy, the tattoos. Super sick. And love working with someone who is just so excited about getting to see their character in a new light and in someone else's style. So that was really fun. I hope this video was helpful for you if you are working on commissions or thinking about opening commissions. Maybe this gave you a little more insight on what it's going to be like to do commissions and if it's truly something that you're interested in, because there is a lot of communication involved. And I don't think people really talk about that a lot. And I have one more announcement, so don't leave yet. This is important. I don't know why I'm here. This is important. This is important. My commissions. If you look to go and get one right now, they're closed. Meh. But it's because I am raising my prices. The glare. I am raising my prices. I know it's not anything that an artist wants to say, and it's not something that a buyer wants to hear. But I was pricing my commissions at a baseline of $30, and it was taking me about 6 hours to do each one. And I just felt like I wasn't respecting my time enough with that price. So I need to increase my price. So I'm being brave. And I want all of you to take this as a sign that you need to value your work and your time, and your price needs to reflect the time and effort that you are putting into your work. And $30, I just don't think reflects the amount of time that I'm putting into these. I do want to come up with a cheaper thing that you commission me for, like maybe it's just a sketch, like a headshot sketch, because I know art is a luxury, yes, but I do think it should be available to everyone. So I want to offer something cheaper, like maybe that would even just be like $10 or $15 for a nice sketch, not like a shitty one, but a nice one. I'll have to make up examples and whatnot. I haven't confirmed any of this for myself yet. Like what I'm I haven't fully decided on my price changes yet, but I do think that the commissions, the like bus commissions, I think I'm going to increase them to a baseline of $60. So I'm going to double them. That way I'm at least getting $10 an hour for my work, which is way less than Washington's minimum wage. But I also don't think I can justify in my head going much more than that. And I think I want to offer more options, like full body works or like a full illustration with a background. Those will obviously be pricier, but I would like to offer more options. But stay tuned for all of that. Please subscribe, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'll be making announcement posts and shorts, and I think I'll also make like a separate announcement video for here on YouTube that will go into details of my price changes. It'll be a quick one, but just to let you guys know that that's going to change. And if you see this and you wanted to commission me, I'm sorry, not yet. You got to be patient, love. You got to be patient. I need a little time to tweak my things around. So, yeah, just remember all art and all business and everything in your life is ever changing, and you have to be ready to be flexible and to change along with it. And I think that's all I have to say to you today. But if you are an artist, good luck. And if you are someone who just likes my art or likes me, thank you, stick around. And I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.